accommodation and they'll be like, oh my god, getting a visa is just like 1/10 of the problems of getting accommodation. Accommodation in UK is very, very, very difficult, and you need to prepare beforehand in order to be able to secure an accommodation. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some few tips in order to guide you and help you to secure an accommodation in the United Kingdom. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're a new subscriber, thank you for coming to my channel. Please subscribe and like this video. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. Don't forget to like this video and share with people. So today we're going to be talking about accommodation. Accommodation is one of the most serious issues in the United Kingdom. In fact, when people say that, oh, for me to get my visa is time consuming, it's depressing, the struggle to get visa, and then when they finally get their visa and they start looking for accommodation and they be like, oh my god, getting a visa is just like 1/10 of the problems of getting accommodation. Accommodation in UK is very, very, very difficult, and you need to prepare beforehand in order to be able to secure an accommodation. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some few tips in order to guide you and help you to secure an accommodation in the United Kingdom as an international student, as a skilled worker, or as a dependent. So first of all, one of the things I'm going to say is that if you want to get an accommodation, you need to start early. You need to plan in advance. If you're a couple, if you're a family, that makes it much more difficult, because if you're a single person, it is easier for you to secure an accommodation. But once you have a spouse or you have kids, especially when you have kids, my dear, it is very difficult. Most people would not want to give you accommodation for family, and they are not even, maybe you can't find them. So you need to start early. You need to start looking for an accommodation as soon as you even get an unconditional offer from the school and you have decided that this is the school you are going to. Understand? So you start looking for house from there. How do you now look for these houses? There are different websites you can look for houses. You can check on Zoopla, you can check on OpenRent, you can check on Rightmove, you can check on Amber Student, and so on. I'll likely drop a page with a list of different websites you can check to look for accommodation. So you need to be very proactive. You need to search, and sorry to say, you're going to get a lot of unfortunately, except maybe God's grace fall on you, but you will get a lot of unfortunately. But among those unfortunately, your determination will be to find one. Yes. Okay. Now, while you are planning and you're starting early, you also need to know that there are a lot of requirements for you to get accommodation, especially for the fact that you're just coming into the country for the first time. Okay. So what are those requirements? Some landlords will ask you for 6 months rent upfront. Some landlords will ask you for 3 months rent upfront. Some landlords will say, okay, if you don't have 6 months or 3 months rent to give to me, you are going to give me a guarantor. Now, the reason why they are asking for this is because they need to be sure that you are able to pay them, especially for those who are students. It is difficult to prove to the landlord that you have the money to pay them. That is why they are not really giving people accommodation. You just came into the country, you don't have a job. How do you prove to the landlord that you're going to be able to pay for your rent continuously? So, for those who are willing to give to you, they will ask you for 6 months or 3 months rent. So we advise that you plan yourself and prepare rent of minimum of 3 months and at least 6 months rent before you come here. So that if you manage to see the one that is going to give you um, accommodation on the basis of rent of upfront payment, fine. Then if you don't have that, you will need to look for a guarantor. The guarantor, each landlord will have different criteria for their guarantor. It could be that they want to run a credit check on your guarantor, but generally a guarantor is someone who has been living in UK, who is a resident in UK, not a student, not a dependent, not a skilled person, a skilled worker or whatever, but you are a resident in the UK and you have a property in UK. So now is the time for you to start calling that your uncle that went to the United Kingdom 20 years ago. Call your auntie or look for somebody who can do guarantor for you. Actually, there are legal agencies that also do guarantor for people. You can also check that out. Don't fall for scam. Oh, please be very careful. Do your due diligence. Okay. So there are agencies that could act as guarantors for you, and you will pay them a certain commission every month, I think. So you have to do your own research. If you have questions on that, you could always buzz me on Instagram or drop a comment here. And you also need to prepare for what we call Airbnb. Sometimes, unfortunately, you might not get an accommodation. So maybe or you get an accommodation that you need to see before you enter into the place. And then once you land in the UK, where are you going to stay? You need to stay in an Airbnb. Unfortunately, experience has shown that a lot of people ended up staying in Airbnb for 1 month, even 3 months. I've seen people who have stayed in Airbnb for up to 3 months, and Airbnb is freaking expensive. So that's the more reason why you need to be very proactive to look for an accommodation before you come to the UK, so that you will avoid staying in an Airbnb. And even if you stay in an Airbnb, it shouldn't be more than a week at most, because the cost, you can spend up to 1 million staying in an Airbnb in just 1 week or 2 weeks. I'm not kidding you. Okay, so the cost is very expensive. Okay, now if you have family, if you have kids, you need to take into the consideration that you cannot stay in one room. For example, if you're a father, a mother, and a child, a girl or a boy, you will have to take two bedrooms. That's the law here. So familiarize yourself with such laws and know how many kids do you have, how many bedroom is legal for you to take. Okay, minimum of how many rooms do you need to take, and look for those houses. Look for it like your life depends on it, because accommodation is a serious issue. A lot of people sleep outside on the cold, or in the cold rather. Yeah. So when you get accommodation, you want to make sure that you read the contract very well, so that you don't go and tie yourself up somewhere without knowing that, oh, the contract has tied you up. Then some accommodations, you might be fortunate to get accommodation that would just require 1 month deposit. Thank God. Thank God. Look for accommodation that if you get the one that will require 1 month deposit. But the key point is that prepare the deposit before. And also, many people look for accommodations that are furnished. You can also try to look for accommodations that are unfurnished. Those ones are easier to get because many people are avoiding them, of course. And then subsequently, you can decide to furnish the house by yourself. Okay. Then another thing is you can join group, join your school group, join community groups, African groups. If you're an Indian, join Indian groups. You get, there are opportunities, there are people post houses on this platform a lot. So start familiarizing yourself with all these. Then if you are a student, the school you're going to, for example, maybe you're coming to Swansea University. Swansea University gives apartment. You are going to Ulster University. Ulster University gives apartment, whether family or for single people. But the key is that you need to apply early. For like Swansea University now, you need to apply to the Beck House early if you have a family. They have very limited spaces. So please apply on time. Immediately you get your offer, apply for the Beck House. If you're a single person, you can apply for student accommodation. Irrespective of the schools you are going, most schools have student accommodation. Okay. And then when you take a house, if you are a family, if you are a couple, then make sure that the student is the one whose name is on the house. Don't say because my wife is the student and then my husband is the dependent, then the husband being the head of the family, his name will have to be in the house. Put the student name on the house, because if you don't, the dependent, if the dependent is the name on the house, you'll be paying for taxes. Okay, the only way you can get exempt from paying for those tax is if it is the student, because the student is tax exempt. You don't pay council tax and all those things. Then if you are looking for house from Nigeria, from your home country, you have to note that when you see a house, you might have to get someone who is in the United Kingdom to view the house physically for you before you fall for scam, because there are a lot of scams out there. Oh. So you need somebody to view house for you. So start getting close to someone in UK if you don't have somebody already. There are school group, there are skilled workers group. Get familiar with someone. Tell the person that, oh, I have found, that is if you have made arrangement with an agent online in all those websites that I'm going to be posting. Yeah, make sure that you get someone to view for you. And the basic is that you can just, if the person is nice enough, just pay the person's transportation anytime the person is going to view for you. Okay, and then I think that's all. Then get familiar with the amount for the kind of apartment you are looking for. Okay, apartment here is no joke, especially when you've not started earning money. Imagine paying about £700 for maybe 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. Convert that to naira, that's like 700,000 naira if I'm not mistaken. And that is the rent for 1 month to 1 month, £700. 2 months, £1,400. Do the mathematics. So start preparing early because accommodation is no joke. No money, no accommodation. Okay, so like I said, you have to start early, get your money ready, get someone to view for you, read the contract, make sure the student name is the one on the apartment, prepare a guarantor. Yeah, if you are coming alone, sometimes now if you are coming with family, it is advisable that if by the time you are ready to come to school or you are ready to come to the country for your skilled work or whatever, and you have not gotten an apartment, Ejo, please come alone. Don't carry your family and come. Because if you carry your family and come, my dear, it is difficult. Especially if you have kids and you don't have money for Airbnb, you will stay outside with the kids in the cold. Nobody will pity you. It's very difficult. Okay, let's say some Nigerians may take pity on you, but what is the guarantee that someone would? Okay, so please come alone, and then when you find an apartment, your family can come. Accommodation here is no joke. Please start looking for an accommodation now. Okay, use this website, look. And remember, I said that you'll be getting a lot of unfortunately and stuff like that, but don't look at that. Your goal is that you can even spend months to look for an accommodation, and before you get one, it will be difficult. So yeah, just and please don't forget the importance of prayer. Please put it in prayer. Okay, pray to your God and have faith. Okay, so yeah, the journey would not be smooth, but in as much as you start early, ask the right questions. Okay, depending on the city you're going to, ask questions, be proactive. You will definitely find an apartment. And even when you come to the UK, if you land in the UK without finding an apartment, you will definitely find an apartment later. But the issue is how long it will take you. So you need to be financially ready, okay, before you come to the UK. Very important. And yeah, so just go through those websites and you'll be able to find an accommodation. If you have any issues, don't forget to buzz me. Please, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and continue to come back for more. So the next video I'll be posting will be about getting a job in the United Kingdom. I'm sure you would like to get a job in the United Kingdom. So how can you land your first job? If you'd like to know more about that, please don't forget to subscribe and come for the next video. See ya!